we saw yesterday.
Well, in fact, I'm just getting over a cold, so I might actually have a coughing fit if you don't mind this morning.
Yeah.
Listen, this paranoid talk of, oh my God, she must have lung cancer. Maybe it's the brain tumor. I mean, there's a crazy stuff out on the internet about this. There's absolutely not one whit of evidence that the woman has any serious health problems. We ought to get off that right now, shouldn't we?
I guess it didn't help her that she had the coughing fit, though, Dagan.
No, and by the way, I remember that letter that they released from her physician was a year old recently. You remember that? Talking about describing the blood clot that she had on her brain. But it's politics. Is everything not fair? Right, Ellis?
Well, I mean, listen, there'll be somebody.
Because you just repeated internet rumors that I sure as heck wouldn't remember.
I was shocked that you just said that.
Rumors since Google fixed the algorithm so that actually Hillary Clinton health problems doesn't show up when you start typing it in. But I think
that is outrageous.
The more interesting thing is surely, that she finally has a session with the press yesterday. She gets a big new plane. The press are on there. They finally get, after what, 270 days or whatever it is, without a press conference, they finally get at least a few. They get like 90 seconds. A question, and the questions they ask are, they pepper her with questions like, how was your summer? And how's your Labor Day going? And what kind of a day have you had today? And we really like your plane. I mean, okay, it wasn't an opportunity for them to ask really tough questions about emails and the Clinton Foundation, but you think one of them at least might have had the kind of courage to say, are we going to be seeing any more of you, Secretary Clinton, in the campaign than you've made yourself available so far? It was a pretty abject performance.
And to your point, I mean, this is the most favorable press corps that a candidate for president has ever had, and yet she's still unwilling to face them. She went 270 days without a press conference. She barely answered any questions on the plane. So what is she evading? What is she trying to avoid? Why won't she face the press?
Well, I guess we have one candidate who's unavailable for comment and one who's unavoidable for comment, right? I mean, that's really kind of what we're left with. Listen, I'm a journalist. I want to ask politicians questions all day long. It's my job to ask them. It's their job to try and sleaze around them or avoid them or to throw stuff up in the air that changes the conversation. I mean, isn't that just the game today? You do what's most effective for your candidacy?
So what's your take then on the conflict surrounding the Clinton Foundation and some of the specific issues that surround her while she was Secretary of State, like, for example, the sale of uranium to Russia, and then the Clinton Foundation got hundreds of millions of dollars?
Well, if the fundamental argument against the Clinton Foundation is that there's a pay-for-play problem, essentially that by giving money you get some kind of special access, I want to welcome everyone to Washington, because let me tell you, the candidates out there in every single political position in Washington, when someone gives money to a Senate campaign, Harlan, do you think that they expect greater access to that senator than the average person on the street gets? I think we need to have a grown-up conversation about it. We want to get money out of politics. Let's get money out of politics. There's a lot of ways to do that.
But, okay.
You don't hear that defense from Hillary, to be. I mean, and in fact, what they've done is they've said, okay, there was nothing wrong. There was nothing wrong while she was Secretary of State. Sort of shut the whole thing down when she's president. So in other words, things that she was able to do that the foundation was doing while she was Secretary of State apparently not going to be okay when she's president. How does that double standard apply? Why is it okay when she's Secretary of State but not when she's president of the United States?
Listen, I'd be happy to defend it in either case as long as you're doing good works. I don't mind rich people giving their money to help poor people. I think that's basically about the best thing you can expect from some ex-politician.
But that's not exactly rich people helping poor people. The money was going to the Clinton Foundation, and the Clinton Foundation is not even allocating all of that money out to the people who need it. They actually made money from it. The Clintons did.
But if the argument, what do we want our ex-politicians to do, right? A lot of them become lobbyists. A lot of them run trade associations, right? The idea of going and running a charitable trust, if they're a bad charity, let's talk about maybe they should be a better charity. They're using too much money.
Here's what I want out of politicians. I want them to represent the people who appointed them to that job or who elected them to that job and not lie. And not lie repeatedly to the American people. Buried on Friday was the FBI report. Yeah. The FBI summary.
Let's hear about it.
Wasn't redacted. And the Wall Street Journal, as always, does this bang-up job of just summarizing it. She was confused on classification marking. She said that she thought it was about alphabetical ordering. And there were 40 times that she told the FBI she didn't recall or remember crucial details about her email server. And this is in the unredacted portion of this FBI report, and it just goes to, if you read through what you could read through in the FBI documents, she clearly was very skillful lawyer and knew exactly what she was doing because she was trying to avoid prosecution.
Right, so she said the C, which represented classified, She said it was ABC or something?
Yeah, although there was no A and no B.
Right.
She thought it was, but she thought a paragraph that had C in it was somehow alphabetical ordering. Yeah, look, I mean, it is. She's going to be, and as we report this morning, this is going to, for the next months now to the campaign, there's a series of releases of documents, of more emails, of her calendar, various other things between now. That's just going to keep this story front and center, and it is the Clinton problem that they, you know, they instead of getting, you know, just coming clean and saying, you know what, I ran this email system I shouldn't have done. You know, I did things that were clearly not right. You know, it won't happen again. There's just going to be this continuous drip of more information that we're going to get over the course of the next 2 months. And the tragic thing for her is it's going to damage her more than if she'd just come clean right at the start.
Well, and there's this false moral equivalency that Democrats are trying to draw between the behavior of the Clintons and every other politician. The truth is that no other politician has operated a foundation while they were in office. They took money from Saudi Arabia and other countries that murder and imprison homosexuals. They carry out practices that are the antithesis of the Democratic platform and expect to remain unscathed. There are no other politicians that are in office today that expect that they can conduct their official work through a private server communicating classified information without having any sort of consequence. And the Clintons think that they can do it.
Harlan, while I appreciate the overheated tone, I think it's a fact that every single politician...
Overheated?
That every single politician, certainly everyone that I've ever covered, and I'm sure that's
Which
that's
one
true
had
of
a
you
foundation?
guys.
Which one had a foundation?
Hold on a second.
Can you name one?
Let me make my point. Does what they can do to try and avoid public scrutiny of their activities, that is, the Freedom of Information Act is essentially a tug of war between the media and the people that we cover. So listen, I'm on the media side of this. I want total openness at all times under every circumstance, but let's don't pretend that somehow or another Hillary Clinton invented this tug of war. Seriously, I mean, have a balanced view of it, shouldn't we?
But she does have, the problem, Alice, is that she have... All of the polling indicates that she has a big problem with the question of trustworthiness. People, sure. And it's quite distinctive, quite unique. It's, you know, Donald Trump, by the way, obviously has his own significant polling problems too. Mm-hmm. People don't like him. They don't trust his judgment and his character. But with her, there has been this continuous issue about her trustworthiness, her honesty, and this unfortunately just reinforces those impressions that people have that this is not someone who actually tells the truth. And that, for a presidential candidate, and ultimately for someone who's going to occupy the Oval Office, given what we've seen in this country with some presidents who haven't told the truth in the past, is a real problem for a lot of voters.
Yeah, and if you're making a PR argument, I think it's a good one. I mean, if you're saying, listen, she'd have been more...
It's about trust. It's about whether or not you trust the person who is your commander-in-chief.
Right, and she'd have been more effective if she'd given an answer that was more like this than like this. I mean, I think that's a very good argument.
Or would not have had all of those conflicts.
She's in a position that she has a group of enemies, right? And I don't think you need to be paranoid to say this. She has a group of enemies that have decided that that's an issue, and maybe she's given them some justification.
So you don't think trust is an issue, then?
Well, listen, I'm distrustful of all politicians. We ought to take everything every one of them says with gigantic
you can't put her in the same
salt.
category of all politicians. There's real conflicts here, substantial conflicts. While she was an officer of the United States government, Secretary of State. I mean, this is not just another politician just taking money, and this is completely different. Her husband got paid for speeches. The foundation has gotten hundreds of millions of dollars, and then she made decisions in representing the United States government. Well, look, that's the issue.
Let's take a moment to, for instance, ex-politicians getting big speaking fees. Is that a bad? I mean, I guess that's a bad thing.
Yeah, but when the spouse is the Secretary of State and you're trading favors, that's
no one should be for trading favors. If you got any evidence that she did anything based,
just gave you the evidence.
Then you got to put it forward.
The uranium in Russia, the Saudis. The list is long of evidence, Ellis.
I don't know. I think you guys might have showed up expecting to find it. I don't know.
All right. Well, Ella Senecan, thank you very much.
Great to see you. This was fun.
No, it's good to